Right now at noon, we have the latest details on not one, two tractor trailers overturning on I-49.
Excessive heat warnings continue for another 100-degree plus day across the 4 states. We'll look at that forecast coming up.
Plus, Marion Days returns to Carthage, Missouri this weekend. See what medical experts are recommending to stay safe in the excessive heat.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us at KOAM News at Noon. I'm Caitlin O'Shaughnessy, and today's top story: 2 tractor trailers overturned on I-49 northbound near the Goodman exit. It happened this morning just before 5 a.m. as reports of a serious crash involving 2 tractor trailers alerted McDonald County's 911. Goodman Fire responded to I-49 northbound near mile marker 17. On scene, we learned both tractor trailers overturned, but they never actually touched one another. Trooper Martin of Missouri State Highway Patrol told KOAM's Shannon Becker that tractor trailer number 1 overturned on the right side of the road alone. It was then that tractor trailer number 2 came upon the overturned number 1, blocking the lane, and swerved, missing it, and then overturned into the median to the left. One driver was transported to a Joplin hospital. And the city of Caney, Kansas is experiencing a severe water shortage. Authorities in Caney have categorized the situation as a stage 3 emergency, meaning residents can use water only for essential activities. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
This school year will start a little different once again for students from the Caney School District.
Unfortunately, we've been through this before, and so it's good and bad, but by having gone through it already, we have some efforts that were very successful last year. A lot of those are very familiar to our students.
The efforts come as a consequence of the water shortage that is impacting the area. To help save water in a time of crisis, among other measures, Caney schools will opt for food that utilizes less water to make, use disposable plates and utensils, avoid watering the football field, encourage the use of hand sanitizer instead of soap and water, and close down water fountains and bottle filling stations.
Instead of utilizing the local water, we actually bring in pallets of bottled water. We've been very lucky that local businesses and individuals have supported us with that, and so although we've had to use some school funds to help out with that, a lot of those come from donations.
The school district's not alone in the effort to save water. City officials mandate residents use water only for essential needs.
We've determined that if we have to and people are out watering yards and things, they'll get a notice in the mail. And if they still don't adhere to that, there will be fines attached after that.
The city is also taking other actions to minimize the impacts on residents. The water from the pool will be drafted and dechlorinated. Then the 130,000 gallons of water will be sent to the water lock to be used by residents. They will also pump water from below the dam back up into the water lock. Those measures will help keep Caney's reserve for another 3 months.
We're hoping and praying by then that we get rain of substantial rains. We're going to have water to fill up our resource water too, Timber Hill Lake again. And good Lord knows where we're at.
Until the rain comes, students in Caney schools and the entire community will be in conservation mode. In Caney, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
According to Caney's city administrator, in the worst-case scenario, Caney will have semi-trucks hauling water to the city. Marion Days returning to Carthage, Missouri, and missed an excessive heat warning. Despite the 100-plus degree temperatures in Missouri, tens of thousands of Vietnamese Catholics from across the world flocked to Marion Days. Volunteer doctors will come out to be on site, saying this year's focus is staying safe in the heat.
I am one of the many doctors who come here, and we all take the time off. It's a sacrifice because it's the time off and traveling, and some of us travel from very far and have to fly in, and then a lot of us bring equipments and medications to donate. But as I said, it's a joy for all of us.
Marion Days 2023 kicks off today and runs through Sunday, August 6th. This will be its 44th year celebrating in Carthage, Missouri. And now let's take it over to Chris Warner with a look at the forecast.
Yeah, that excessive heat warning does continue for virtually every county in our viewing area. For most of southeast Kansas, northeast Oklahoma through 9 tonight, and for parts of southeast Kansas and southwest Missouri, runs until 10 o'clock tonight for heat index values upwards of 115 degrees that are going to be possible. And the bad news is a number of these excessive heat warnings, there's already been discussion, will very likely return as we head into our Friday as well. Yesterday, started the day at 80 degrees. Very toasty, made it up to 103, so not quite record levels, but well above where we should be for this time of year. And we're continuing that trend today. Now again, up north, some of those showers just haven't let go in our far northern counties. And so that has caused two problems. One's a good problem, the other is a not so good problem. The good problem is for some of the northern counties, the temperatures are down. I guess it's caused three problems. The second problem is it's left behind some humidity. So even though these temperatures are a little cooler to the north, it's a lot muggier up in places like Yates Center, Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada. The third problem it's created is it's been sucking up moisture and energy, and thunderstorms that we were looking for to develop later tonight across parts of southeast Kansas are looking a lot less likely. Well, you've got 95 Chanute, 94 Parsons, 96 Chautauqua, 93 Pittsburgh, Joplin, 94 Neosho, Monette, so very hot out there already. We'll take another full look at your forecast, and there is relief on the way, I promise, and we'll show you when that's going to get here in just a few more minutes. Caitlin?
And the Joplin Humane Society wants the city of Neosho to know it has no more room for animals. Efforts have been made to reach out to faithful friends, but that Neosho shelter says they also are filled to capacity. To further complicate matters, the situation leaves the Neosho Police Department with no place to take animals that they might use normally. And the city of Columbus, Kansas temporarily closes its pool and splash pad. The city closed its pool for precautionary purposes as the city is currently under a boil water advisory. The city will follow all KDHE testing protocols and hope to get the boil water advisory rescinded before the weekend. The city apologized on Facebook for the inconvenience and said that its teams are working as quickly as possible to make repairs and restore normal system function. Gather your friends, family, and neighbors as it's time for the bed races in Arma, Kansas. It's getting close to Arma, Kansas's homecoming, which is known as Arma VJ Day Homecoming. This tradition dates all the way back to 1946 and is believed to be the oldest running VJ Day or World War II celebration in the country. This year, they brought back the bed races, where a team of 5 people, 4 pushers and 1 rider, raced down Washington Street in the town.
Bed races are open to anyone, which means organizations can enter, groups can enter, families can enter, 4 people who don't know each other can enter, anyone, so it really opens it up.
The beds must be designed with 4 function wheels of any size, and the design of the beds must be family friendly. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in the 4 states region. Still ahead on KOAM News at Noon. Security is high outside the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., where former President Donald Trump is expected to be arraigned this afternoon. And later, we're making pesto pork medallions in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. Stay tuned. Former President Donald Trump is expected to travel to Washington, D.C. today to make his first court appearance in a case surrounding his actions to overturn the 2020 presidential election. Nicole D'Antonia is at the federal courthouse in the nation's capital with more details.
Security is high outside the federal courthouse in Washington, D.C., where former President Donald Trump is expected to be arraigned this afternoon.
Charging Donald J. Trump with conspiring to defraud the United States, conspiring to disenfranchise voters, and conspiring and attempting to obstruct an official proceeding.
Trump is expected to plead not guilty to the charges, and the judge may impose travel restrictions.
And we may get some indication from the judge, some admonitions to Trump not to pollute the jury pool, not to have incendiary statements.
Trump posted on social media that he believes he can't receive a fair trial in Washington, D.C. He sasays he'll push to move the case to a more Trump-friendly state, such as West Virginia.
Can you find 12 jurors who swear to tell the truth and will uphold their duty? They clearly can do that in DC. That's where this case is totally venued. It is not moving.
When the case goes to trial, Trump's lawyers plan to argue that his false claims about the election were not criminal.
This is the first time that political speech has been criminalized in the history of the United States. It's the first time where a current president is using the criminal process to attack a former president on policy issues.
They also plan to argue that Trump was just listening to his attorneys like Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and John Eastman. CBS News has learned they are likely some of the 6 co-conspirators cited in the indictment, but they have not been charged. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
Trump has sent out fundraising materials to supporters asking for their help in fighting the charges. Still to come on KOAM News at Noon, we see what's cooking with Mr. Food.
A one-pan skillet dish that'll knock your socks off. Be sure you stick around so you can make this tonight. Oh, and don't forget to hold on to your socks.
And it's hot and muggy now. It's going to be hot and muggy for a couple more days, but relief is on the way. We'll take a look at that forecast when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM News at Noon. So it's already hot, it's already humid, it's very unpleasant out there. It's been unpleasant for the last 3 or 4 days. Even in the overnight hours, we haven't found much relief. Now, we've still got some stray showers in our northern counties that you can see on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. But as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, they've caused a series of problems. One is somewhat good, the other two not so good. The good problem is they've kept temperatures in our northern counties down, but those that are very close to these showers but maybe not getting in on them. Problem number 2, as we mentioned, is it's caused humidity to be considerably higher. And problem number 3 is these showers were expected to be out of here, let's see, about 4 hours ago. They just keep repopulating. They're not thunderstorms, they're just showers, but they're having an impact on our future weather, whereas we were anticipating some scattered thunderstorm development across southeast Kansas later this evening into the overnight. That's looking a lot less likely now because these showers are just taking everything that these thunderstorms tonight would have had to work with. Because if you watch, you can see them. They just are training over the same areas and the same areas and same areas and keep rebuilding here. They're not thunderstorms. They're not bringing heavy rain. They're not dumping a ton of moisture or anything, but they are ruining plans for at least some decent rain later this evening. But again, don't worry. This is not the only shot for thunderstorms and rain that we have over the next several days. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line. You can see the sun beating down. You can see it's kind of hazy, and the same view from our camera here at the KOAM studios just north of Crestline. Starting to see some mostly cloudy skies in some locations. Quick reminder on the excessive heat warnings through the late evening hours, and there's a reason that these go so late into the evening. We'll show you why here in just a moment. First, our camera, 7th and range line, mostly cloudy skies, 93, feels like 96, that dew point up there at 67. And over in Pittsburgh, you can see on the KDOT camera there, we've got some sunny skies, got some haze, got some cloud cover. 93 feels like 95 right now at that dew point of 65. So as I mentioned, take a quick note. Yates Center is 91, 88 Iola, 90 Fort Scott, 89 in Nevada. So yeah, it's hot, but not nearly as hot as, say, Miami at 97, 96 Chatopa, 95 in Chanute, 94 Neosho, Anderson, Monette, 96 down in Veneta. But because of the proximity with the moisture, take a look at the heat index. It's a bit higher. Ours are closer to the temperature, the air temperature, but up north, 98 Yates Center, 98 Fort Scott, 96 Nevada. Feels like 101 in Anderson and 100 in Newata, Veneta, and Grove. So again, with the heat index where it is, heat exhaustion is likely, heat stroke very possible. So quick reminder, make sure you're staying hydrated, taking frequent breaks if you have to be outside. If you don't be. Limit those strenuous outdoor activities, wear lightweight colored clothing, and check on the elderly. Keep your pets inside. Don't let them out too much. A stray shower or two possible around, say, between 3 and 5. Otherwise, hot. going up to 103, mostly cloudy skies. We head into this evening. We have, unfortunately, at least for now, had to remove those overnight and late evening thunderstorm chances for our friends in southeast Kansas because those showers out there just kind of killed that possibility. All right, we hold on triple digits tomorrow. Could see a couple of morning thunderstorms, though, Friday. If everything works out in our favor, then more evening storms. We're still hot Saturday. Saturday brings us the chance for maybe a strong, possibly severe thunderstorm. But then that system, the biggest thing it does is A, kicks off several days of thunderstorm chances, and B, it brings us that relief, brings those temperatures back down into the upper 80s and lower 90s out there. So much needed relief is on the way. We've just got another 48 to 56 hours to get through.
Yep, just got to hang on a little longer, right, Chris?
Just a little longer, and we're going to get there together.
All right, that's what I like to hear. Well, up next, we're making presto pork medallions in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. We'll be right back. It's time to check in with Howard and the Mr. Food Kitchen staff. Today, he's making an easy one-pan skillet dish that proves that pesto's not just for pasta. It's called pesto pork medallions. Take a look.
A one-pan skillet dish that'll knock your socks off. Well, not literally, but once you taste it, I'd love to hear how you describe how good it is. The first thing we want to do is cut a 1 to 2 pound pork loin into 1/2-inch slices. Now we place each one between a couple of pieces of plastic wrap and gently pound them so they're pretty thin. Flattening these is what makes them really tender. Okay, next, we season them with salt and pepper and dredge them in some flour. Then we saute them in butter for a few minutes on each side. Once they're done, we place them on a platter and cover them to keep them warm. Now in the same skillet, we combine some heavy cream and pesto. And after letting this simmer for a bit, we add some sliced plum tomatoes. That's it! A fresh tasting all-in-one skillet favorite that's packed with flavor and looks so impressive, you'll never guess it was made in about 10 minutes. Now, that's my kind of dinner. To get the recipe for our pesto pork medallions, all you need to do is visit our website. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a simple stovetop way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
To find this recipe, along with many others, just head over to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com and click on Mr. Food. Now here's a look at the 4th state market prices.
Excessive heat warnings again today. Heat index values up to 115. Most of us will see excessive heat warnings again tomorrow. Temperatures once again in the triple digits. Still hot Saturday, and then our thunderstorm chances begin to increase. And those temperatures, if we can just get through the next couple of days, we're going to make it back into the upper 80s and lower 90s. We just got to get through a couple more days of this stuff.
All right,
Yeah.
you can get there, right?
Sounds hopeful.
Well, just
That's all we
hang
can
on
ask
a couple
for.
more days. That's all he's asking for.
Absolutely. Well, Dal, what do we have on the docket for this evening?
Well, a lot coming up at 5. For starters, advocates around the world are raising awareness to try to increase the number of mothers breastfeeding their babies. We're going to examine the benefits for both the baby and the mom. Plus, another week of those triple digits, at least a couple more days, as local hospitals see an increase of heat-related illnesses. We're going to have tips on how to stay hydrated. And area students attend a MASH camp to learn about healthcare career fairs. Hope you join us. KOAM News at 5.
Sounds wonderful. Well, thank you for joining us here for KOAM News at Noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.